The first president of the Institute of Bankers, Mr. Hector Mackenzie, said in his 1904 inaugural speech, "You will doubtless take full advantage of the opportunities the Institute will offer you in the way of attaining proficiency in your profession. You have every reason to do so, for I believe there will be a steady expansion of banking business in South Africa, affording scope for advancement of capable men." The beginning of the Institute was heralded by a motion passed at a meeting of bankers in Cape Town on the 27th of January 1904. The early vision of the Institute was to form a body to educate banking staff, as described by Mr. Mackenzie as a kind of banking club, where stimulants should be of an intellectual nature, a feast of reason, and the flow of the soul. By December 1904, the Institute had 930 members. There have been many highlights over the last 103 years, and we will make mention of but a few. Women were invited to join the Institute in 1919, with 4 women initially enrolling. 1939 marked the onslaught of the Second World War. The South African economy experienced a boom, with production of war resources, and banking continued relatively unaffected. So too was it business as usual for the Institute. Testimony to this is a letter sent to Lance Corporal Howard Grubb, a prisoner of war in Germany, explaining that arrangements had been made for Grubb to write his examinations at the war camp. The Institute sent 75 examination papers to 15 different German prisoner of war camps, and was involved in the rehabilitation of men returning from war through banking education. In 1965, the Institute registered their coat of arms with the State Herald, the motto being Finis Coronat Opus, meaning the end crowns the work. On the Institute's 75th Jubilee, a special category of membership called Honorary Fellow was introduced for persons of distinction in fields allied to banking. Among the first recipients of this award was the Governor of the South African Reserve Bank, Dr. Chris Stolz. 1972 saw a geographic move for the Institute from Cape Town to Johannesburg, following the trend of the major banks whose head offices were in the old Transvaal. The Institute has created links with various sub-Saharan African countries, with many international students benefiting from the education provided by the Institute. With the dawning of South Africa's new democracy in 1994, there were many changes experienced, and the education and training sector did not go unchallenged. The process of aligning tertiary education to unit standards and the measurement of outcomes had begun, revising accredited qualifications to become part of the National Qualifications Framework. It was a natural path for the Institute to follow, to move into the field of education provision and to establish joint ventures with appropriate partners. For the first time, the Institute creates, owns and provides educational material to the banking sector, focusing on core and specialist areas of banking. It's ironic that after 100 years in existence, the Institute was now closest to the original vision of providing education in the widest sense of the word. Another significant step in the Institute's history was to be given the sector grant approved by Bank CETA to become a centre of excellence in the banking sector. With this accreditation by the ETQA body of the Bank CETA, the Institute is able to fulfill the function of an education and training provider as registered with the Department of Education in South Africa. In a bid to further streamline the functioning of the Institute, Council approved the move for the Institute to operate under the Articles and Memorandum of a Section 21 company. The time was ripe to create a new vision for the Institute, which is to be recognized as a center of excellence, enhancing the standards of professionalism, skills and competencies for a globally competitive financial services sector. Collaboration and partnerships are one of the Institute's shared values. To forge affiliations with higher education institutions, such as the University of South Africa. Members can now achieve their banking diplomas, bachelor's, master's, and even doctorate qualifications ostensibly through the Institute. The fifth oldest institute in the world has reinvented itself, embracing a changing country and banking sector. It had long been the wish of the Institute's stakeholders to bring the image of the Institute up to date. This wish was tested in the market, and the result was unanimous. A new corporate image, a visual interpretation of the new Institute of Bankers was developed. It is with pride that we unveil the new brand for the Institute of Bankers in South Africa. Our new image that encompasses freshness, relevance, legacy, solidarity, and strength. The color purple symbolizes power and ambition, conveying wealth and an association with wisdom, dignity, independence, and creativity. Innovation, excellence, and professionalism are important concepts to the Institute, whilst serving members and the people of the banking community. The focal square symbolizes order and logic, whilst the whole logo embodies energy, mobility, progression, and stability. The Institute continues to add value for members through the SA Banker magazine, networking forums, experiential continuous professional development